What's up, Peoria? What's happening? Mark Supreme, RapPolitics, episode 17. We live right now. Appreciate y'all tuning in. And of course, y'all could have been tuned in to anything else on social media, but you rocking with your boy, man. We got a good lineup of folks for y'all today, man. We got Karen Wilson from the NAACP, who's going to talk about National Voter Registration Day. Ooh, let me get my light going. Boom, we here. She's going to talk about National Voter Registration Day. And so where you can get signed up at, how important it is, how easy it is, and whether or not felons can vote. And we also got Chris Setti from the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council, who's going to brief us on everything going on with back to business programs and grants and other opportunities for you to get your small business working, especially if you got hit hard by COVID. And you already know off rip, we are brought to you by Sherman's, where they carry the best in furniture, mattresses, and appliances, and they hiring. Sherman's one of the few places left in town that doesn't care about your education. They just promote people that work hard. Look, the biggest thing when it comes to trying to get a job is what? Having a degree, or what? Being able to get promoted, or what? Having somewhere where you can get a discount. Now, I can't speak about that discount, but I do know that Sherman's is hiring, and you can log on to shermanscareers.com to check the openings and apply online. And also, we are brought to you by Terry Shepard, a real estate consultant whose values are rooted in customer care and service. She can help you negotiate your next deal and get you into a home that fits. Make sure that you holler at her. She's with Remax Traders Unlimited, and she can be reached at 309-361-4592. And you know I got to plug the sophisticated ratchet joint. Look, and we had the second call yesterday for the models. Y'all seen the videos. Y'all seen the pictures. It's going down next Saturday, October 9th. We got art from all over the city. We got people and models from all over the city. Make sure y'all pull up next Saturday. You can get your tickets right now on Eventbrite. It's about to go down for show. So if you've been paying attention to any type of news, let me get it up, man. I'm gonna give y'all, so make sure I ain't saying nothing out of order. Kales, man. Karen backstage shaking her head, man. It's Kales. So jurors found R&B singer R. Kelly guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking charges, and all Kelly could face decades in prison. That verdict came down today. We've been watching this story for a long time, even before surviving R. Kelly. We've been knew about this. Kelly's been on trial since August 8th and will be sentenced on May 4th. So still got about a year left. Prosecution and witnesses accused Kelly of sexual and physical abuse, while the defense presented witnesses who said they never saw Kelly abuse women, but conceded they were not around for much of the time. Kelly was a lone female guest. So that is the verdict. And it's crazy because still you got a lot of arguments, especially in the black community. Some people listening to Kels still, some people not listening to Kels. People don't know whether or not they're going to, that, you know, some people, you turn the music on, people freeze up, you know what I mean? It get different, but definitely one of the greatest R&B singers of all time, if not the greatest, but definitely one of the most overlooked cases and one of the biggest examples of dereliction of duty I think we've seen in not only criminal justice system, but into entertainment in general. I remember being 13, 14, 15, and, you know, when tapes was coming out and things like that, and it seemed like it never caught up with him, but it looked like it definitely has. So we'll stay on top of this story for any other developments, of course, because it's rap and politics and it's R&B too. But that's the update on that. And also, before we bring Karen on, I got to do a big happy birthday shout out to the homie Wayne. Now, look, do I know Wayne personally? No, I don't. And why do I got him up here? Because first of all, I remember his birthday just because it was in a rap a long time ago. And anybody that knows me knows that I know rap lyrics backwards and forwards, and I just can't help it. But Wayne is still top 5 rappers all time Ain't nothing to talk about. Ain't no debate, and I ain't even friends with people who ain't got him in their top 5. I don't even rock with people. I don't accept phone calls from people that ain't got Wayne in their top 5. For what? Now, do I agree with everything Wayne says or does? No. But facts are facts, man. We talk about 2005 to 2009, 10. There's no debate. Wayne is the only person that has held the rap game in his hand by himself for that long a time. Eminem didn't do it. 50 didn't do it, not for that long. Jay didn't do it. Now, Jay is the GOAT. Don't get me misconstrued. Jay is definitely the GOAT. But when we talk about somebody who really ran rap by himself, there's no debate. And so that's why I had to celebrate and just, you know what I'm saying, give a big shout out to Wayne for the last year in his 30s. He done put, I mean, y'all listen to CLB? Y'all listen to Nicki Minaj back in the day. Not so much no more, but y'all listen to him back in the day. That's well, boom. That's Wayne. Now, why did I use this picture? Look, I know this picture is old, but this is the Wayne that I remember. Look, he got all his hair. Look at him. He got all his hair. You know what I mean? Tatted, but not that much. You know what I'm saying? The white tee still white. You know what I mean? That's why I had to take that picture. That picture probably 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? But I had to do Wayne the way I remember Wayne. I just had to do it. I had to do it, man. Top 5 all time. Yes, dead or alive, man. So I had to throw that out there. Now, as I mentioned before, we got 2 special guests lined up for today. The first one is Karen Wilson, one of my favorite people ever, because, I mean, when you talk about somebody that be supporting, somebody that be championing good causes all the time, she pop up at all the good situations. She makes sure that she come out to all the things that Peoria got on going positive, and if something going negative, she gonna pop out for that too and let people know what it need to be and what it ain't and what it's finna be. Karen Wilson, you here to talk about the voter registration, but first I want to say what's good.
What's good, my brother? What is going on? I'm so happy to talk to you. Every time I see you, it's a pleasure. Like I said, I just want to be you when I grow up. I just want to be you.
No, you don't. No, you don't. But I want to be you when I grow up, because people know how hard I be going for voting in general, civic engagement in general. You know, you got something going on, or the country has something going on tomorrow. Describe what it is and what part you taking in it.
Okay, well, I'm just making sure people are aware. It's National Voter Registration Day. It is just trying to get people in the habit of making sure that they are registered and ready to go. The old adage is, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And so just do like for all intents purposes, just check to make sure that you are still registered. If you haven't voted in a couple of cycles, some districts will purge you from the rolls for non-activity. If you have
Time out. Hold on, I'm gonna zoom in on you. Wait, what? I know.
Yeah.
I heard it for real. So if you ain't voted in a good amount of time, they will take you out of the list of people that's registered to vote?
That's right. They will purge you. Yeah, I think it is, if you haven't voted in 3 cycles, then you are what they call inactive, and they will purge you from the rolls. Yes, they will. So and if you've moved, then you need to re-register. We're trying to a couple of the organizers that I'm following, like Tiffany Lofton and stuff, they're trying to get an initiative going that if you've registered, you need to be registered. You shouldn't have to do it every time.
That's
But I mean, people need
crazy.
to be
So
aware of this.
if you ain't voted in 3 cycles, you can mess around, find a candidate that you're passionate about, whether it be local, statewide, or federal, and then want to go down to the precinct that you're familiar with because you ain't moved yet.
Right.
Go to vote, and they could be like, man, you ain't even registered. Now, luckily, in Peoria, at least what I found, you can register and vote the same day.
Correct.
Which is all right.
Yeah.
But you can run across a couple counties, a couple states, a couple cities that be like, oh no, you ain't
get out.
Obama, so you gotta. Dang, I didn't know that.
People need. Now, like I said, I'm a lot more passionate than most because politics and government is my major. But I mean, these are just little things that people need to be aware of. If you have moved, you need to re-register at your new address. You can register with 2 forms of ID. You can go to the Election Commission anytime. If you are tied up tomorrow, then you can, get up with me. I'm a deputy registrar. We just need 2 forms of ID, and I can get you straightened out. But yeah, this is something that people need to be aware of, that if you do not vote on a regular basis and within 3 cycles, you are out.
Well, all right. Well, so where you going to be at tomorrow? Where can people come get registered?
Well, if the Election Commission is open, they can go there. But you can always contact me via social media. All my, my phone number, 309-863-1785. You can contact me anytime. I'm a deputy registrar. I've got my stuff, and just 2 forms of ID, and we can get you straightened out. So, and I also wanted to, while I've got your attention, I also wanted to bring awareness that in commemoration of the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots, Friendship West Missionary Baptist Church has started an initiative of the last 100 days of the year to buy Black. Support Black businesses for the last 100 days. You can go to Friendship West website, and they have an icon on there. You can if you have a business, you can register on there, and they will direct traffic to your website. And but we need to be buying Black 365 days a year anyway. If you are doing an event or what have you, you need to look and support us, for us, by us at all times. So
let's get those 100 days cracking. Hey, we got the summer cracking though. Shout out to all the promoters, because it was a concert, I think, every day. I think it's one tonight. I don't even know. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. Karen Wilson, thank you for coming on and telling us about voter registration day, and also putting me up on some game that I didn't even know. So I definitely appreciate you. Appreciate you coming on to RapPolitics.
Always my pleasure. Take care.
That was Karen Wilson. Tomorrow is National Voter Registration Day, man. Look, if you ain't voted in 3 years, or if you've moved, you gotta register, because they're gonna try to do you if you try to pull up and you ain't been in there 3 years. Don't let them get you. Don't let them get you. So now look, the PPP's been out there. I know everybody been looking at the list. I know y'all, people been sending me screenshots of names on the PPP list. You know what I mean? Everybody talking about they finna go get the PPP. But I'm talking about the people that legit got businesses, that lost some money, or might have, had a couple struggles, and they might have missed the first PPP. They might have missed the first grant to the loans or something like that. And so for that reason, I had to call up my good friend, man, Chris Setti, over at the Peoria Economic Development Council. He's the CEO, and he knows all things back to business grants. So he's in the virtual building on today. Mr. Chris Setti, what's good?
What's good for you? It's a great night. Thanks so much for having me on.
Most def. So we had to get you on here to break down what's going on, not only with Economic Development Council, but also with the PPPs and the back to business. But first, I want to start with the Economic Development Council. For the people that have never seen or heard of you or the Economic Council, what do y'all do?
So we are a regional economic development organization, and we work with a lot of partners across 5 counties. So Peoria, Woodford, and Caswell County, plus Mason and Logan counties, which are south of us. And we provide a lot of different services around workforce development, business attraction, working with our existing businesses. We're very involved with Distillery Labs, which is an innovation center that's going to be built in downtown Peoria. So we're really a broad group of programming that really is geared at helping create these partnerships across our region. We know that economic development is a team sport, and we have all sorts of people that are kind of working towards it. So that if even Rivian in Bloomington is good news for Peoria, and so we're really working at a regional game here when it comes to economic development, and it's our job to try to pull that team together.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's been a constant conversation I've been hearing as of late. People speaking about Peoria and trying to figure out what type of collaboration we can do with Bloomington, trying to build that bridge. Because it's only a half hour east, and if you go to a bigger city, even like Chicago, sometimes it's just a half hour to get to work. So that's just the typical commute. What more can we do before we get into the back to business? But what are you guys doing over at the Economic Council? What is Peoria doing? How can we build that bridge to kind of have that I don't know if I want to say interstate commerce. I don't know if that's the correct term, but what can we do to build that?
Well, we've built really great relationships. So our counterparts in the Bloomington Normal area is the Bloomington Normal Economic Development Council. So we've always had a really great relationship with those folks. And we all recognize, even down in Springfield, Decatur, Champaign, that Central Illinois really works as a system. And when one of us wins, we all win. So we obviously, because of the proximity to Bloomington Normal, we're a little closer to that. And Rivian's a great example of that. When Mitsubishi, when they closed back in 2015, 50% of their workforce lived in the Peoria area. And so, Rivian's going to have upwards of 4,000 employees, and a good portion of them are going to come. I just had somebody in my buy a house in our neighborhood who's moving here from out of state, who's going to be working at Rivian, and I live up by Bradley University. And so it's, but for decades, we've had people who commute to Peoria to work at Caterpillar or ATS or G&D. And we have people from Peoria who go there for, working at State Farm or ISU. So, the county borders are just, borders that are made up, in state law, but people cross borders all the time, especially for work and play, and for where they live. So our goal is really just to build a good camaraderie with our partners, in the Bloomington Normal area, and then celebrate our successes together and make sure that that we're working well together.
So moving on to the Back to Business grant program, what is that, and how can people take advantage of that $250 million that's been set aside for the state of Illinois?
Yeah, well, thanks. This is a really important program, and it's a timely, and I'm glad you've had me on now because the deadline for this is October 11th. So what the state of Illinois did is, there's been a lot of programs. You rattled off a few of them, earlier in your program. So Paycheck Protection Program was a loan program that turned into a grant program. There's been the EIDL program and the Business Interruption grant. There's been all sorts of different programs at the state, the federal, and even the local level. This is using some of the most recent American Rescue Plan dollars that the state of Illinois got a couple of $1 billion from that program. And they've taken $250 million and created the Back to Business grant, which is really geared at businesses that had a loss of revenue between 2019 and 2020. They say it's for small businesses, and it is for small businesses, but the definition of a small business is any business that makes less than $20 million a year. That's a lot of businesses, and I think if you're making $20 million a year, you wouldn't think of yourself as a small business, but that's the federal definition of a small business. And so that's one of the only qualifications, that you make less than $20 million a year, and that you were established in 2019. Because the way this grant works is you have to submit your 2019 and your 2020 taxes. And then they figure out the difference between your gross revenues, your gross receipts in those 2 years. And then they give you what would be the average of 2 months loss of that. So it's anywhere between a grant of $5,000 to $150,000. It's actually a really simple application process. But because they recognize how big the universe of businesses in Illinois who make less than 20 million, they've got a couple of priority buckets of companies they're looking at first. One is specific types of businesses. So bars and restaurants, hotels, anybody who's in the entertainment business, salons and barbershops, dry cleaners and laundry facilities. If you kind of think about some of the businesses that were hurt the most by the pandemic because they really required and relied on foot traffic, those businesses are prioritized. Businesses in certain zip codes in what they call distressed areas or disproportionately impacted areas. So in the city of Peoria, it's the 6161, 05, 06, 04, 03, those zip codes. And then there's one kind of in the Creve Coeur area across the river. Maybe most importantly, there's a specific priority for businesses that haven't received any other sort of assistance, in any of these other programs. And we know that there were companies and businesses that missed out for one reason or another. So Paycheck Protection Program was probably the most widely used program. But the way it was structured is if you didn't have a certain type of employee, or if you didn't have a need to be re-employing those people right away because maybe you were a restaurant that was shut down, then you didn't take advantage of the Paycheck Protection Program. There was a program last summer called the Business Interruption Grant that a lot of people applied for, and the state just ran out of money before they could satisfy the need of all the folks that had applied for it. So those people who didn't receive anything, any service whatsoever, are really prioritized in this, which is great. It really kind of helped to level the playing field.
So real quick, I want to go to a question that we had before we get back to what you're talking about. And the question was, what about non-for-profits? Do they get to get in on this at all?
Yep. Even nonprofits are. Now, the taxation is a little different because they don't have gross revenues necessarily, but they do have gross income. So, it's a very narrow list of types of businesses that cannot that are ineligible. And they're mostly ineligible for reasons like they're gambling, casinos, nightclubs, or I really should say, adult nightclubs, if you know what I mean, and certain things that are illegal at the federal level, golf, like private clubs, like country clubs and things, they can't. But even nonprofits, as long as it's not churches. So nonprofits are eligible so long as that the predominant thing they offer isn't religious services. So a great organization like the Dream Center or the Rescue Mission, which are faith-based, can apply, but my church of First English Lutheran, for example, couldn't apply.
So, and run me through the specifics of this. And I just had this come down. You got to have the 501c3?
Correct. If you're a 501c3 or a 501c3 is probably the best example. I think there are a couple of others, like a 501c6 that is likely also eligible. But 501c3, which is what most nonprofits are eligible.
Okay. So, and I want to break this down for some people that might have gotten into this or might not have gotten the opportunity. So you got to have your business organized and set up and running by 2019 to take advantage of this, correct?
Correct, because I think it's the one I would call it a fault of the program. It's not of by design, but they needed a way to judge how much you lost. And the only way to judge how much you lost is to really look at taxes in 2019 versus 2020. The group that's probably the folks that are missing out the most on this is if you opened your business in January or February of 2020. With the horizon in front of you and no problems, and then in March of 2020 the shutdown comes. Those are the folks that are missing out the most. But most businesses that were open in 2019, even for 1 month, as long as you filed taxes in 2019. I think the other problem that we're seeing is that some folks have yet to complete their 2020 taxes. We all think of taxes being due April 15th, but you can get an automatic 3-month extension. As a business, and then you could also petition for additional extensions. You have to have your 2020 taxes completed. Again, they need some sort of document to really figure out if you're eligible and what your losses would be.
So now, what if you didn't have a significant loss, but then you could benefit from the Back to Business program, but you can't prove a loss? How does that work?
Well, if this program is specifically for businesses that were impacted negatively by COVID. So if you can't show a loss between 2019 and 2020, first of all, I'm super happy for those businesses, right? This is not meant for them. If you made more money in 2020 than you did in 2019, then that's great. If you were only open for 2 months in 2019, they will annualize whatever it is. So they'll take if you made $20,000 in those 2 months, they'll multiply that by 6 and say, okay, in 2019, we could assume this business would have made $120,000, and they'll subtract that from 2020. But yeah, if you made more money on an annualized basis in 2020, then God bless. I'm happy for those businesses, and this program is not for them.
Cool. So what about the people that what was it? For the people that did first of all, break this down. This is a grant, not a loan. Does not have to be paid back.
It is correct. It is a 100% grant. So if you receive $20,000 or $50,000, it just shows up in your bank account. And there's some rules. There's no reporting, but there's some rules around what you can't spend it on anything that you've already been provided a grant for or federal assistance for, but those programs are so old that it doesn't matter anymore. So like if you use your Paycheck Protection Program, that was to pay for salaries of employees, but that was for salaries of employees last summer. So your chances are if you get $50,000 today as a business owner, you're not going to spend it on, on those same employees for that same time. So it's very light in terms of reporting. It's actually, there's no reporting afterwards. One thing that is important, you actually still have to be a business as well. I should have mentioned that. So if you are in the unfortunate position, and we know that some businesses just had to close, there's no way of applying. You have to still be an active business. That's really the goal of Back to Business is to get people back up and running. One thing I want to mention is that we have people to help. And that's really one of the great things that DCEO, the state of Illinois, has done this year, is they recognized that last time when they put out their business interruption grant, that not everybody who should have known about it knew about it. And so they've taken a real effort at what they're calling this Community Navigator program. And to create locally based organizations who can help people not only know that this grant exists, but also give them some technical assistance. And so, that's what's really great. So you can go to our website, which is www.gpcovid.com, and we'll actually assign you to an organization here locally based on where your business is and what city it is. And we're partnered with our chambers of commerce, with the Black Business Alliance, with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, with Bradley Small Business Development Center to train up individuals who can help walk you through the application. And that's really one of the benefits, even being on a program like this, is being able to just do some advertising, get the word out, let people know. So it's not the same people who are getting the same grants over and over again. We really are, especially in the minority community, especially women-owned businesses in our rural areas. This is really important.
And Ray, I just saw your comment go up. Deadline is October 11th, correct, Chris?
Correct, October 11th. I wouldn't wait. I think that $250 million doesn't go as far as one might think in a state this big. And while they are starting to make grants on a rolling basis, so it's a pretty simple application. If you have all your documents, when you have your taxes and a couple of bank statements, you could probably fill it out in about 30 minutes. You can actually, at that same website, gpcovid.com, is the link for where you can actually register or apply for the grant.
And Tara wants to know, the system, does that analyze the loss for individuals that apply, or they have to analyze the loss and input that into the system?
No, what you do as the business owner is that you put in what your 2019 and your 2020 gross revenues are, but then you also upload your taxes. So they have a way of verifying that you aren't just putting in numbers. So that's again why taxes. It's important that people have paid their taxes. We know we have a lot of businesses that are kind of operating on a cash basis, but this is one of those areas that if you don't file federal income taxes, you aren't going to be able to have the documentation you need in order for this program to work.
Now, you were explaining that you could have had the PPP and still qualify for this too.
Yes. So all of those things are priorities that I mentioned earlier. Everyone should apply. What they'll want to make sure of is if you haven't received any of those things, you're going to be in the front of the line when it comes to your grant being reviewed. But even if you got a Paycheck Protection Program grant, you got a business interruption grant, if you got all of them, you should still apply. It takes 30 minutes. You might get between $5,000 and $150,000 to help offset those losses. And so, to me, there's no reason not to apply and figure it out. It's a lot like playing the lottery in some respect. Is if you don't get a ticket, you're never going to win. I wouldn't actually necessarily suggest anybody go out and play the lottery as a wealth building strategy. But in this particular case, if you don't apply for this grant, we know you won't get it.
Now, what about, people that are watching or might hear this later on, like, I got a business. I didn't exactly get hit with a loss per se, but I kind of started mid-COVID, and I could definitely use some assistance. What is available out there for businesses like that, or what services does the Economic Council have for individuals with those type of businesses in those type of situations?
So there's not a lot of programs available right now for other businesses. Probably the best one is called the Economic Injury and Disaster Loan, or EIDL, and it's a program it's a loan product. It's not a grant product, but it's a very low interest loan. It's like about 3%, and it's really great for like if you need working capital. I think you don't have to even start paying it for a year after you get it, and there's no interest that accrues during that first year. Really, the best organization for small businesses to talk to is the Small Business Development Center at Bradley. The Turner Center for Entrepreneurship has a whole suite of programming that's available for for small businesses, and they can really help you discern what programs are best for you. There's just not a lot of grant programs out there for businesses that haven't been struggling through COVID, but there are some good programs like EIDL.
And we had another question. Robin wants to know, do you have to have a brick and mortar business, or can this be an online business?
It can be an online business. It has to be an online business that's incorporated in Illinois, so it can't be, and even sole proprietorships, so you don't even have to be incorporated as an LLC or as a corporation, even if you're a sole proprietor. So yeah, online businesses count as well. As long as you've been paying your taxes and can demonstrate that loss, they qualify.
Okay, now I don't want to have you plan government or judicial system at all, but there's a lot of talk about people that got PPP loans that might not have had a legitimate business, or might have grabbed the PPP loan and started a legitimate business just off the falsification of certain documents, got the money, and now they have a business. What, if any, information can you give on situations that somebody can expect or anticipate going forward with those type of?
Well, I think, we're always likely to have fraud in any system and waste and abuse. And it's unfortunate that people take advantage of those, of those things. It's worse when, because somebody took advantage and then the program ran out of money, that somebody else who legitimately could have used it. I hadn't heard that that's the case with PPP. They actually didn't use all of the PPP in the second round. I would just, I would caution people who have chosen to do that to, make sure they're watching out, because I think eventually they might be caught up with. And I won't have a lot of pity for folks that, that took advantage of the system. But I haven't heard a lot of it, but I haven't also done kind of the research to see, every time one of these grant lists comes out, I look at it and think, oh, I know that person. They probably didn't really need it. But hopefully most people are above board, and I believe most of our businesses that I have seen apply for these programs and get it are truly deserving and need the help. It was a really tough year, 2020, and 2021 is still tough for some businesses.
Indeed. I want to switch gears a little bit onto economic development in a different capacity. The city's been given $46 million in COVID relief money. Just from your take on the lay of the land, what would you think is the best way to spend some of that money to help spur economic growth? What would you like?
I worked for the city of Peoria for a dozen years before I had this job, so I still follow it pretty closely. And every community has gotten money. The city of Peoria has gotten a lot of money because of their size, but Pekin, East Peoria, I was dealing with the city of North Pekin today because they also got money through that same program. I followed the city council meeting a couple of weeks ago where staff outlined their proposal. I very much appreciated the staff proposal that, first of all, solicited a lot of public opinion, and I thought that was great. But then also, I thought it did a really good job of breaking those dollars up. There's a lot of things that money can be used for: sewer and water, broadband, housing and neighborhood programs, and economic development, which is what I was really focused on. And what I really liked about the staff plan, we'll see how this unfolds. And I think council largely agreed with the staff plan. Maybe they wanted to see it spent faster than over the 4 years that staff was suggesting. But there were some really great programs and initiatives that I thought was in the plan that were really about business startup and business growth, because I think that's where we're really going to see our economic future as a region. Is around innovation and startups. And so they had a business innovation grant. They had There's some support for distillery labs, facade improvement program. Those are the sorts of things that I think could be really helpful to jumpstart our economy and keep it moving, and some really targeted programs for our lower income neighborhoods. So I'll be interested to see how it all plays out. City council is always a really interesting follow for me. But I think that they've taken a good direction to start with.
Got it. So is there anything else before we move on to the lightning round that you would like to highlight for the Economic Development Center or about the Back to Business Grant program?
No, the Back to Business Grant, again, it's just www.gpcovid.com. You're not alone. We have 10 different organizations who are signed up to work with us to help businesses apply if that's what you need. If you just have a question that you have to, I just ran a report today. We've already helped well over 1,000 businesses, and so our folks now have some pretty good experience under their belt and can answer a lot of questions and save you some hassle. So www.gpcovid.com. You can get to the Back to Business application portal, but you can also request help, and then that email comes to me, and I'll put you in touch with the right person.
Sounds good. Okay, we're going to move on to the lightning round.
All right.
Brought to you by Illinois American Water. This is the lightning round where we do rapid fire questions or rapid fire answers. And what we're going to do, Chris, is we're going to put 1:50 on the clock and see how many things we can get through before you.
All right.
Are you ready?
I hope so.
Yeah, let me turn this up. Okay, hold on. All right. Boom. Startup or new business in Peoria that you're most excited about?
Natural fiber welding.
Favorite attraction in Peoria?
Oh, I love the Riverfront Museum.
First car you ever owned?
A 1956 Chevy, and I still own it.
Name an athlete or a sports team that you just can't stand.
The Green Bay Packers and the St. Louis Cardinals and the University of Southern California.
I heard all of that. Okay, you got $10,000 to spend in one store. Where are you going?
In one store, probably Best Buy.
Not bad. Bitcoin.
Sherman's. I'll say Sherman's.
No, okay. Hey, you understand the assignment? Okay. Bitcoin. Is it the future or is it a trend?
I fear it's the future, but I also fear that I know nothing about it.
If you could start any new business in Peoria in any industry, what would it be?
I would. Oh boy. I would love a great ethnic restaurant that we don't have.
Okay. New York or LA?
Well, I'm from Los Angeles, so I'm going to say Los Angeles.
Okay. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Apples or oranges?
Oranges.
Nike or Adidas?
Neither, but Nike probably just off of their brand.
What's the last book you read?
The last book I read was I'm blanking on the name of it. The Kite Runner.
Favorite movie?
The Godfather.
Favorite comedian?
I always loved Robin Williams.
Okay, hey, not bad. And I got to ask you the last one. I always squeeze in the last one. Grits. Do they take salt or sugar?
Salt.
Oh, come on, all right, man.
I'm sorry. So you said grits? Well, the answer still would be salt.
What you thought I said?
Well, I didn't. I thought you said salt or sugar. I didn't hear the grits part. So, but the answer would probably still be salt. Sorry.
The answer is definitely sugar with butter. If you didn't know, and the same thing goes on rice. All right. Look, Chris, man, appreciate you stopping in to RapPolitics to rap with us about the Back to Business grant program for Peorians and people in the greater Peoria area. We thank you for all the work that you're doing over there at the Economic Council. And real quick, throw your email out there or the website for people to get a hold of you guys.
Sure. It's www.gpcovid.com. So gpcovid.com.
Sounds good. Chris, we'll talk to you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark.
And that was Chris Setti, Peoria, a Greater Peoria Economic Development Council. Man, a lot of information on there. If you have a business or you know somebody that got a business that might have struggled during COVID and they still holding on, you still got to have a business. You can't go. Our business closed. We gonna get some money and open it back up. You got to have a business. Definitely tap in with the good folks over at the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council. And we are, of course, brought to you by Sherman's, the one place that Chris said he will take $10,000 and go spend money at. And they're hiring. You can go to shermanscareers.com to check out the openings and apply online. And we're brought to you by Terry Shepard, who is a real estate consultant whose values are rooted in customer care and service. She can help you get into your next crib, man. 309-361-4592. And Sophisticated Ratchet, it is an art affair like no other. Y'all ain't never shop for art, and then you got Migos in the background, and you got somebody like, I don't know, Stavia singing on stage. I mean, look, we got some surprises. I ain't gonna mention all of them, but make sure y'all get y'all tickets on Eventbrite, because it's gonna go down next Saturday, October 9th, 5 to 9 at Lofty. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. And a lot of dope people coming up, man. This Thursday, we got 4th District Councilman Andre Allen, who's going to be stopping in to talk about not only what's going on in the 4th District, but what's going on the council. It's going to be his first interview since being on council, first time being on RapPolitics, and he's going to talk about also the ton of money that is on the table for the city of Peoria and what the process is to figure out how they're going to spend that money here in the River City, man. So tune in for that this Thursday, 7 p.m. Journal Star. Make sure y'all get y'all what do y'all call it? Subscription. PJ Star, man. PJStar.com. Make sure you get a subscription and know what's going on in the city, man. Till next time, appreciate y'all tuning in.